So, against the backdrop of all this news, the U.S. also named a 25-player roster for this January camp, which is going to culminate with a friendly against Slovenia in San Antonio. All 25 are MLS players, 15 are uncapped, 13 are Olympic eligible. I don't know if you remember this, but after the last Gold Cup, in which the U.S. sent a quote-unquote B team filled with veteran MLS players and got knocked out by Panama in the semis, we were both lamenting that the U.S. no longer sent its best players to that tournament, and we were debating what could be done to give some meaning to that competition. And I suggested that if they're not going to send your best players, perhaps the U.S. should have sent an under-23 team to the last Gold Cup and use it as preparation for the Olympics. You kind of scoffed at that. We know you're not the biggest fan of youth development, but that does seem to be the approach here with this January camp. Do you mind it as much here? This is not a FIFA window, so you couldn't have brought back the guys from Europe. And so rather than a roster filled with veteran MLS types, if you're going to go that route, would you rather have this sort of squad and use this as preparation for the Olympics?
Yeah, I'm okay with that if that is the desire. Now, the messaging of this has been kind of from U.S. Soccer has been, yeah, this is kind of what we are doing. And look, the Olympics, I'm excited about seeing this Olympic team, but I'm excited about seeing the Olympic team as it relates to the next few years. And what I've said now on multiple pods here, that no matter what happens over the next couple of years, there are no sacred cows. I want these players to be challenged. Does this get me excited, this roster in and of itself? No. But, even in the best of times, Mosse, this is Camp Cupcake, right? So we were debating as to, what we call this version of Camp Cupcake, because it's not really a cupcake. So, we're looking at it more like a cream puff or a little kind of pastry, maybe with a little cream or chocolate in it or something like that. But it's not even a cupcake. And so I can't think of a time. And again, you mentioned, it's not that I hate development, Mosse. It's that I don't want to see how the sausage is made. I don't care. Ultimately, I want the final product. So I can't think of a time when there has been more apathy relative to a national team roster. All that said, how many of these players do you think that we will see, this summer with the Copa America, let alone 2026? But the reality is that you only want a couple of them to rise to the occasion. And I will say this camp, whatever you want to call it, is actually, for a young player and an inexperienced player, an incredible opportunity and advantage. Because as we know, most national team camps are 2 or 3 days, maybe a little bit longer, right? And when you're flying, you're doing all the different things, it gets narrowed down. And getting in front of Greg Berhalter and his staff is huge. And so not only are you in front of him, but you're in front of him day after day after day. And they're going to get a real clear idea of what you are in January of 2024 as a player. Not just a quick glimpse that most camps are. So you better grab it with both hands, all right? Whether you are a James Sands, who knows what the national team program is right now, or a Jackson Reagan from Seattle, who's coming in and has no idea and has zero caps, or other players around here that has zero caps, you better put your best foot forward so that when that camp ends, you've planted that seed in Greg Berhalter's brain that, you know what? This is someone that if we bring in the future, we're confident they're going to come in and they're going to take that opportunity. Remains to be seen if any of them ultimately do, but I do think that there is a general sense of why should we care about this game and about this collection of players relative to the national team.
And it should be noted, Miles Robinson is on the roster, a guy we just talked about. But yeah, some of the names that jumped out at me: Aiden Morris, fresh off winning MLS Cup, Jack McGlynn, Atencio, Diego Luna, Duncan Maguire. So there are some players I'm excited to see. And there are some interesting omissions. Kremaski's not on this roster, Brian Gutierrez, Jalen Neal, although that might be fitness related. But yeah, so I don't mind the younger Olympic type approach. We'll see. To me, that's actually more interesting than if it was just a bunch of sort of veteran MLS types that I don't think are going to be a big part of the senior team and are too old to play in the Olympics. So we'll see how it goes.
Yep. All right. You like that clip? Well, my State of the Union podcast drops twice a week right here on my very own YouTube page. The only way to stay up to date is to hit that subscribe button down below. Size the day, and see you soon.